What would you say to someone who thinks that people with disabilities are not smart enough to vote or don't understand how to vote?
What do I think of people who don't think we're smart enough to vote, people with disabilities? I think that when people don't think we're smart enough to vote, I have to stop and explain to them that we're as smart as everybody else, but it just might take us a little longer to be able to express what we want to say and do. But the way people pick who they're going to vote for, if they don't know that person, that if they don't know everybody on the roster, people just pick any old way to pick another person to vote. So I think we're smarter than the next person when it comes to that. And I think for people with disabilities, a lot of times, I know for myself and I know for a lot of my friends, we educate ourselves on who's running and why it's important to vote for that person, or why it's important not to vote for another person.
My name is Chester Finn, and I'm from Albany, New York. If someone said that a person with a disability is not smart enough to vote, first of all, I would tell them I'm here at the polls and I think I'm very smart. Number two, I would let them know that we know the information that they know. We watch television, we listen to the candidates talk, and actually some of us go to the political rallies, and you know how many people, you know, average people out there go to political rallies and you know, follow that process, and that it's an American right. So you can't tell someone that you're not capable or ready to vote. And I would say that, you know, they're kind of full of it if they think that we're not smart enough or capable to vote. You know, some of us are now running for office, so that shows you that we're smart and ready and capable of handling the American process.
My name is Dashefsky. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and I moved to Scottsdale. I should just really tell people to look at a whole picture. It's a really weird thing because you don't want to group all disabilities under one roof, but then again, you don't want to say disability A can do something, but disability B can't do something. So I would, you know, definitely say expose your kids, your family members, your relatives to politics. Expose them to what's on the news, what's going on in the world, you know, because that'll get them interested in voting. It's certainly gotten me interested. And I just would say that if people vote, then that's how the world has changed. And if you don't vote, then don't complain. Don't complain that somebody got into office who you don't like.
I would say to them, look at everyone around you. How many people do you know that has a disability? And I would say to them, then look at me, because I am one that does.
That's a very good question. What I would tell them is if I heard somebody say people with disabilities cannot vote or do not understand, I would say, you know what, we pay attention to what's going on in this world. A lot of what you hear is important to us as much as it's important to you. You know, we have lives, and sometimes our life depends on the decisions that legislators make, as well as candidates that we elect in office. You know, I've been through I've seen enough to know that the decisions that are made in the national and state offices have a big effect on us, like it does everybody else. We're going to have a say in it regardless. You can't tell us not to have a say in it simply because what you may assume.
I'm Elizabeth Lyons. I think you can't judge somebody the way they look, and the way they talk, because they are as smart as everybody else. It's because we do it a different way. We might have a talking machine, or we might have different ways to do it. We're just smart as everybody, and people need to take the time to know us, because we're just as smart as everybody else.
Bernard Baker from Atlanta, Georgia. Then you are sadly mistaken. People with disabilities are smarter than some temporary able-bodied folks. All we ask for is a chance to prove that we can be productive citizens in society like everybody else. So we have the right to vote. If you don't vote, you don't count.
My name is Cheri Griffith and I'm from Griffith, Arizona. I would say to somebody who didn't think that people with disabilities were not smart enough to vote, I would tell them that everybody should be treated as an equal person, and everybody has the right to make decisions in life.
My name is Cheri, and I would say there's no such thing as anybody not smart enough to vote.
My name is Ellen Perry, and I am from North Carolina. And I would say to people that say people with disabilities are not smart enough, forget it. People are smart. People with disabilities are very smart. Everybody's smart. And it's so frustrating to hear that, but I've had that experience. And I told them point blank, I was not going to put up with this.
I am Gayle Gardner, and I would tell someone that they don't have my disability, so how in heck do they know if I can vote or not vote?
Okay, well, my name is Cheri Mitchell, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And the question is, what do I say to someone who thinks that people with disabilities are not smart enough to vote? I think that's just a giant lie. Actually, it's an excuse to get out of doing what you need to do. Because voting is our civil rights, you know, and our responsibilities, you know, toward being a contributing citizen of society. You know, and if you want to live in the community and you want to be included, you got to first do your responsibilities. And voting is the very first one in that.
Well, again, my name is Robert Harris. And to those folks who say that people with disabilities are not smart enough, or intelligent enough, or thoughtful enough to vote, I say poo on you. Because the reality is that we who have disabilities are just as smart and sometimes just as stupid as those who do not have disabilities. And so, you know, it's one of those things that every citizen has to be as informed as possible and make your vote. And that's what it really means, that you get to be as informed as possible. And for some folks, you know, that means you just have to study more. I have to study more. And then sometimes I knew a lot about a subject and I had to study less. But we each know a lot and we each need help. And so I think each one teach one, and we have to recognize that we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we need to play towards our strengths.